What's up, everybody? Big Swede coming at you once again from Swede Studios. So, question of the day. Can we take a really cheap guitar, put good high-quality components into it, and transform it into not necessarily a high-end guitar, but, a really solid, well-playing guitar? That's what we're going to try to do today with this project. Now, I've talked about in the past, my philosophy when it comes to buying guitars has always been to buy a good, solid quality, mid-range guitar, and then, maybe swap out some components here or there that I feel are lacking in comparison to the higher end, much more expensive model of that guitar. So maybe that's putting some locking tuners on it, or, maybe it's the bridge, maybe I swap out the pickups, whatever the case is where I feel something's lacking in comparison to that higher end model. I'll swap those parts out, and then, at least in my mind, I have a fairly equivalent guitar to that higher end model for a lot less money. And, it served me well throughout the years. I've never ended up with a bad guitar when I went that route. So this time I wanted to kind of take that philosophy and go a step further with it. I went out and bought a really cheap, affordable guitar. We got this Harley Benton JA-20HH active SBK. Man, that's a mouthful. Harley Benton work on that. So what this is essentially is it's a Fender Jazzmaster clone, essentially. And as you can see, all blacked out, active pickups. We're gearing this towards the metal side of music. Now, if you follow any other guitar YouTube channels, you've seen this guitar before, and not for good reasons. It does come with a set of issues, some of which I would expect to see on a $140 guitar. I paid $140 plus shipping for this. Some of the issues on this I would fully expect to see on a $140 guitar. No problem. The huge elephant in the room, though, is the one problem that plagues this guitar that I feel is unacceptable at any price range, and that is the noise issues due to horrible bad grounding on this. This guitar, the Harley Benton Victory Active SBK, the V, and then to a lesser extent, I've heard some people say that theirs are fine and don't have issues, but there's a Strat version of this as well. I think it's the ST20HH Active SBK. They all have, to varying degrees, this one definitely and the V definitely, grounding issues due to the paint that they used on the bridge. Yeah, black is cool, but when you use black paint that doesn't conduct electricity and you put it in between the bridge and the ground wire underneath the bridge, that's going to cause issues. And anytime you play this guitar through any kind of high gain settings, the noise is ridiculous, to the point where it makes this guitar unusable to record with for sure. Yeah, you can play with it and practice, but that noise is very annoying. So at least it's or at the best it's annoying. At the worst, it's unusable. Like, you cannot record with this guitar. Too much noise. Anytime there's any kind of pause in your playing, like you mute, just this crazy loud buzzing noise. Unacceptable on any price range. No, let's be honest, this guitar is probably geared towards beginners. $140. A beginner should not have to try and deal with that kind of issue out of the box. Most of them are not gonna know how to fix that issue. They're gonna end up taking this into a guitar tech and end up paying just as much as they paid for the guitar to get it fixed. Shouldn't be an issue right out of the box. Foul on Harley Benton on that one. Your quality control's got to get a lot better. Again, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix the other issues as well. Some of the fret ends are a little bit rough. There's some sharp spots here and there. Not as bad as some other people that I've seen, but it is there enough to where you can catch a fingernail on it, and as you're sliding up and down the guitar, it doesn't feel good. We'll fix that. We'll smooth those out. No problem there. The tuning machines. Again, it's a $140 guitar. I don't expect, anything great, but, they are a little, the gearing in there is a little rough and inconsistent, I would say. Like, I'll be turning it, and then I'll hit a spot where it's like, becomes really hard to turn, and then it'll break through that and get nice and smooth again. But, it does have those inconsistency issues. We're going to fix that. But again, $140 guitar. Can't expect too much. The bridge... It's not bad. It's a usable bridge. It's a cheap copy of a hip shot bridge. I have a hip shot on my C1 Silver Mountain over there, and that one is first of all, it's a lot bigger. It's nice smooth edges on it, so everything's nice and rounded. Feels comfortable when you're playing it. This one, it does have some kind of sharp, janky edges on the saddles on the high E and low E that kind of stick up, and when you're palm muting, kind of digs into your palm a little bit. Again, nothing that makes it unplayable, just not quite as comfortable as my regular hip shot bridge. But again, $140 guitar versus $1,200 guitar, you're gonna have some kind of things in there that they have to cut corners to get it to that price range. But again, the bridge, the tuning machines, I can deal with those issues. The fret edges, again, I expect that. The rest of the fretboard is nice. No issues, no dead spots in the neck, no problems. So we'll deal with that. And actually, right now is probably a good time. We're going to go head to toe on this guitar, and I'm going to show you everything we're going to do to this guitar to turn it into, hopefully, a really badass playing guitar. All right, starting at the top, the tuners, we're going to change those out for some really nice Graphtec ratio locking tuners. I love the ratios. I have a set on my C1 Elite over here. If ever in the future I'm changing out tuners and going to some locking tuners, the ratio is exactly where I'm going to go. They're awesome. Can't go wrong with them. The nut, as expected on a $140 guitar, once again, we got a cheap plastic nut. It probably will work just fine for the time being, but we're going to put something a little nicer on there. We're going to go with a Graphtec Tusk nut there, as well as the string trees. We're going to swap them out with some Graphtec string trees as well, hopefully prevent any kind of binding, keep those strings moving smoothly in between the nut and the tuners. No tuning stability issues there. As far as the neck and the fretboard itself, again, no major issues other than, like I said, the rough fret ends on a couple spots. We're going to smooth that out. But as far as the actual playing surface itself, the fretboard and the frets, no issues. It's going to be just fine. Strap buttons. These, again, would probably work just fine. They're strap buttons. But I'm a big advocate for locking strap buttons. So some kind of strap locks. I used to use the Dunlops. I've moved to Schallers now, the Schaller S-Locks, and that's what's going to go on here. Too many close calls and one guitar that actually hit the floor because of not having strap locks on there. So always, always, always strap locks. Now, as far as the electronics, the pickups, the switches, the pots, honestly, due to the grounding noise issues, I can't really say one way or the other whether or not the components that are put into this are good quality, bad quality. Usually in lower end guitars, the electronics is one of those areas where they cut corners and they're not as good a quality. But, I mean, they probably work. The volume pot probably works just fine. The switch probably works just fine. But as it turns out, I'm going to be simplifying this a little bit more. Let's be honest, this is going to be like a chuggy rhythm monster that we're going for here. So I have no need for a neck pickup. So the neck pickup's going to go away. That is also going to negate the need for a selector switch. So that's going to go away. the pickup, I don't know, these pickups might be just fine. I decided I'm going to go a different direction with this anyway, so I got a Fishman Fluence Fluff Signature model pickup for the bridge here. They only sell that as a single pickup for whatever. I mean, Fluff mainly plays a bridge anyway, so that's why he went with just a bridge pickup rather than a set. But I like the idea behind how he described what he was going for when he was talking to Fishman about this pickup. Like, I do a lot of my recording in the digital realm. I use a lot of amp sims, models, stuff like that. And a lot of times you can get like this kind of like the high-end fuzzy kind of harshness with digital amp sims. And the way he was describing it, he asked for them to roll off that top end a little bit to kind of get rid of that. And that sounds to me like something that's right up my alley, rather than having to go in after the fact and EQ and stuff like that. Hopefully this will fix that on the way in. So yeah, we're gonna go with that Fluff Signature Model Fishman Fluence, which happens to come with its own push-pull volume pot anyway, to access the different voicings of the pickup. So this volume pot is gonna go away anyway. All the wiring will be redone. So it's also going to get shielded properly and grounded. Everything's going to be nice and clean and quiet. We won't have the horrible buzzing that's going on in this right now. And then back to the bridge. Again, like I said, cheap copy of a hip shot bridge probably would work just fine. I don't see any issues with it that would cause it to like malfunction or not play well. Again, it's just a preference thing, comfort, you know, a little, like I said, a little bit of sharp edges on there. So I found a really cool Schaller, I think it's called the 3D6 bridge. A lot of adjustability as far as intonation, string height. You can even adjust the string spacing on it. It's a lot bigger, so more mass, hopefully help with sustain on this. So that is going to go on there in place of this stock bridge. And that's it. So hopefully all in. Actually, one more thing that I forgot to mention. Since we are deleting the neck pickup and the switch, obviously we're going to need to replace the pickguard as well. That doesn't have those holes. Yes, we could just take them out and leave the holes there, but that wouldn't look cool. So I'm going to get a custom pickguard made for this. It's going to look the same, black, just won't have the holes. But other than that, that's where we sit with it right now. I'm hoping all in on this guitar to be sitting right around 650 bucks when you figure in the price of the guitar and all the components I'm putting into it. 600 to 650 bucks, which would be right in that mid-range guitar range that I normally buy in, and then would normally put in another couple $100 on top of that. So hopefully coming in under my normal price range, we're going to have a really nice playing guitar. All right, that's all we got for part one. Stick around for part two, where we're going to start tearing this thing down, get it down to the body and the neck, and start putting our new components into it to transform this cheap, affordable, entry-level guitar into a solid player. We'll catch you guys next time.